Boko Haram started in the northeast region of Maiduguri, which is also bordering Chad Republic, and it spread to most parts of the northeast, then to parts of the western states of Nigeria, and there were times that even the capital of Nigeria, which is Abuja, was attacked by this group. And presently, it's not just Boko Haram. There is also another group of with another name, but similar interests as well. Probably the military have gone some grounds with fighting them, but not to the extent that I would say they are eliminated. Their security threat is still present, and some places one has to be really careful before visiting those places. And the great regret about this group is some parts of them actually went into kidnapping people for ransom, which was even a bigger threat than the terrorism was. So most states in the northwest were under that influence, and I would say Kaduna, Katsina, even the federal capital, which is Abuja, was under this threat for quite a long time. So that's really the negative part of the terrorism that has affected the country. So even the economy is suffering because of that. Students can't go to some schools because they get kidnapped. So when you look at it as a whole, it's really affected so much, I think.
Is Boko Haram pretty much, and you said there's another group as well. What was the name of the other group?
I think they call their Islamic, I've forgotten the name they call themselves, but ISWAP, their name is ISWAP.
Okay, and are they they're pretty much isolated to certain parts of the country, or are you kind of always worried?
They are isolated to the northeastern parts of the country, and they've even had clashes with Boko Haram against each other and killed each other. So it's every one of them is trying to have grounds on their own, similar to the story of Al Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The influence has been highly negative, especially for the northeast region, where it used to be an economic hub in northern Nigeria, but now has been reduced to little activity in regards to marketing stuff. And their reach has actually gone through most of the northern parts of Nigeria. They've affected the northwest as well, the north central. And now there is a new group, the ISWAP, like I said, which is fighting to gain grounds with the Boko Haram itself. There was a time most of the West African states bordering Nigeria had a pact to actually fight together, but I don't know what happened or what progress they've made together.
If you don't mind me asking, How old are you?
I'm 36 years old.
So when do you first remember Boko Haram becoming a thing? When do you first hear about them in your life? How much have things changed from then?
When I first heard about them was about 2008 or 2009 there. So back then they weren't seen as a huge threat because Nigeria never had a level of terrorism like this. So they weren't really taken seriously. Like most of the threats were taken just for their word. Like even the security agencies did not rise up to the challenge until they started using explosives to damage buildings or kidnap people and kill them. So as the terror increased, the security presence also increased. And a lot of places had to be either placed on curfews or putting on no travel watch list and all that. But I would say the height of their terror was probably around the 2012 to 2014 era. Compared to that now, like they've reduced significantly.
And that was the first time I remember reading in the news about it was a group of schoolgirls, if I'm not mistaken, having been abducted and ransomed as well, correct?
Exactly.
How did you react to that news when it happened? because it
It
made
was,
international headlines.
yes, it was pretty shocking. And while the Chibok girls was the one that actually gained headlines, but they've kidnapped a whole lot of other school going kids. Some were girls, some were boys, and like the total number actually goes almost 1,000 or more kids that were in captivity. Some were freed, and others I think are still either with them or their stories have changed significantly. There are a lot of NGOs, helping with the psychological effect of having been under terror, especially in the northeastern part of Nigeria, which is Maiduguri, Yobe, and Adamawa states. Those states where it was really, really evident.
And what do you think could be done?
I believe it has to do with a lot of engagement with the youth, because if the youth are on the same level of intellectual understanding and level of education, they would not want to partake in activities such as terrorism or any negative things that affect the society.
Maybe get them into photography.
You can involve them in so many creative